Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Welcome to a very special Wednesday Night Satsang. This evening is our annual Unity World Day of Prayer service, where we are joining together with Unity churches and centers around the world, as well as Silent Unity and Unity World headquarters in prayer over the prayer list that you have sent us from this community here at Unity of Houston, as well as the prayers that have poured in to Silent Unity from all around the world. We connect our prayer and heartfelt energy together to hold the high watch, which means to hold the highest and best. No matter the appearances of what's going on, we know the truth of God in and through every circumstance. And so it is a joy, isn't it, for us to raise our consciousness together, to open our hearts, and to connect with each other through our intentions that we have shared through our website that they've come in, as well as on paper that have been turned into the ministry.
Our first affirmation is, I pray with an elevated mind and open heart. Our Unity co-founder, Charles Fillmore, said, we have no independent mind. There is only universal mind. But we have consciousness in that mind, and we have control over that consciousness. We have control over our own thoughts, and our thoughts make up our consciousness. Let's speak our affirmation together. I pray with an elevated mind and an open heart.
How can I elevate my mind? As Chris just reminded us, Charles Fillmore, our Unity co-founder, said that there is only one mind. That mind is God's mind, universal mind, Christ's mind. So knowing that, what does it mean to elevate my mind? For me, it means to bring my consciousness in agreement with that mind. That one mind that affirms unity and oneness with all beings, all life, all that is. And in my experience, I'm either consciously agreeing with it or I'm unconsciously disagreeing with it. And I find myself in that disagreement sometimes. And when I meet life in that consciousness, I see life as a series of obstacles to overcome, problems to be solved by me. And then in this state of consciousness, there's a part of me that's convinced that if I just struggle enough, work hard enough, worry enough, that eventually I will solve all these problems, and then, and only then, I can be at peace. It's a game I have yet to win. So I have caught myself in this game too many times to count. Maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you play this game sometimes too. And maybe you've caught yourself in it. But what I've come to realize for myself, that the moment I catch myself in this game, even if it's the billionth time, it's a holy moment. Because this is the moment I remember I have the right to choose. Do I stay in this suffering, or do I choose to open my heart and elevate my mind? So a couple of years ago, I was in my first term of ministerial school. We were reading a book called The Essential Works of Charles Fillmore. And I was supposed to be reading a specific chapter, but I didn't know. I'm going to kind of thumb through here and see. And 2 lines on a page caught my attention. And they said, I am alive with the life of Christ. I am intelligent with the intelligence of Christ. Something about those simple sentences just resonated with me deeply. So I wrote them down, put them on a sticky note, put them on my computer. Then I began to start taking them into my meditation practice. And after several months, these sentences, these affirmations lived in me. And so I now, whenever I find myself in that struggle, catching myself in that game, I stop, I breathe, and I affirm I am alive with the life of Christ, which opens my heart to the reality that this thing that I call my life is actually God's life, expressing itself as me. And then I affirm I am intelligent with the intelligence of Christ. This intelligence that knows no opposition, knows no struggle, and can see things from a transcendent perspective. So this is how I elevate my consciousness, by knowing and accepting myself as no less than an expression of the divine. From this knowing, I pray. From this knowing, I move through life. And of course, the beautiful thing is all that struggling is not a prerequisite to the praying part.
Yeah.
We can choose to be in conscious agreement anytime we want, day to day, moment to moment. Namaste.
Our second affirmation is, we hold the high watch for all beings. Charles Fillmore, a prolific writer and thinker, also said this: true prayer brings about an exalted radiation of energy, and when it is accompanied by faith, judgment, and love, the word of truth bursts forth in a stream of light that, when held in mind, illumines, uplifts, and glorifies. Let's speak our affirmation together. We hold the high watch for all beings.
What does it mean to hold the high watch? In the last 2 weeks, I've been experiencing grieving. I'm grieving because my life is changing and transitioning from being a full-time mom to now being an empty nester. I have been experiencing challenges at work. I'm also in the middle of moving to another side of town. When these things happen, we find ourselves in transition. There is some sadness and some sorrow, and maybe excitement too. But for a few moments, it looks like we have entered a foggy, dark patch in our journey. It doesn't matter how spiritual we are or how many classes we have taken. In these moments, when we are in the midst of chaos, we all need someone to remind us that this is not the truth. That beyond what we think we are living, there is a bigger reality, the realm of God, where we can feel nurtured and supported and guided, that we can find our way back into the light and be reassured that God is with us all the time. In my case, I call my prayer partner, who has held the high watch for me, reminding me that no matter what chaotic my experience seems to me, there is always divine love. But what exactly does it mean to hold the high watch? It means to keep the high consciousness for others. That when a person is experiencing discordance, we can hold the light for them and visualize and affirm harmony in their lives. If they experience sickness, we see health in their lives. If they are experiencing turmoil, we see them surrounded by peace, and we affirm all of this for them. We do this in unity when we affirmatively pray. We all can be prayer partners at some moment. In this relationship, one of our gifts is to hold the high watch for our partner. It simply means standing firm in truth, no matter what is going on around us. Holding the high watch means to see the greatest potential within our partner, to imagine that potential is realized and that this realization has already happened for them. Holding the high watch is a way of witnessing our partner, believing more for them than they often can for themselves. The wonderful part, as we do that for our prayer partners, we do that for ourselves. We extend our love, and in this same energy we share. But also, we can hold the high watch without saying a thing. It is an energetic space that we choose that speaks louder than words, by just going within, opening our hearts to connect with God, standing quietly in our own highest truth about something. That way, we allow others to recognize and match it. In the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 11, says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing." We are energetic beings, and we can raise up our brothers and sisters. This is what we can do for each other. This is how we can walk together home. This is how we do here in Unity. Namaste.
Namaste.
Our third affirmation is, our prayers make a difference in the world. May Rowland was head of Silent Unity for many, many years in the village. She also was a writer, and she wrote many books and articles. She said, "The way to heal the nations is to start in our own consciousness. Let us get in touch with the great spiritual reservoir of love and harmony within us. Then, let our harmonious radiance brighten our own homes. Let it radiate to our government, and then to the whole world. Peace begins in the center of our own harmonious consciousness." Let's speak our affirmation together. Our prayers make a difference in the world.
How does prayer make a difference? How many times have you had someone say to you, "You are my thoughts and prayers"? And how many times have you said the same thing to another person, but then quickly forgot it when the next thing came along? If you're like me, it's been too many times. It is our nature to want to offer comfort and hope in the midst of struggle, and prayer is one way that we do that for others. But when thoughts and prayers become a rote response, it loses something of its power. We are not praying the way that Jesus commanded us to pray. In these times, we have lost touch with the divine within, which knows the desires of our heart. So when we pray, how do we make a difference with prayer? The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary defines prayer as the communion between humanity and God. Prayer makes a difference because through prayer we are fulfilling our co-created power with God. Without us, that which is the mind of God cannot be made manifest. It is through affirmative prayer that we come into communion with the mind of God and make a difference in the world. When we pray, we need to get still and enter into the silence, which is the dwelling place of God. It is here that we meet God face to face and connect with the deepest parts of ourselves, which are the divine manifestation of God. In the silence, we come to know what is ours to do, and we are transformed by the omnipresent power of God to manifest through us. How then do we pray? In the 6th chapter of Matthew, verses 7 and 8, we hear these words which are attributed to Jesus. When you are praying, do not heap empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask of God. Here, Jesus is telling us that when we pray, we must do so from that place deep within that connects with the essence of God. We are not to offer up empty words devoid of connection between the mind and the body, or a rote response to a need. Rather, Jesus is telling us that even before we ask, God knows our need. All already exists. It is up to us to open ourselves up to the wisdom of God to make manifest that which is our deepest desires of our heart. God knows, therefore we know. We do not have to ask because it already is. In the Gospel of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24, it says, "So I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." This verse from the Gospel of Mark tells us that we must pray with the expectation that we are receiving already, and it is already ours. Now you ask, how can some prayers seem to be answered and some don't? I would say that prayers are answered. When we pray, we must pray in mind, body, and spirit without attachment to specific outcomes. For example, when one is dying from a terminal illness, there's often a request for prayer for healing. In that case, I ask, what kind of healing are you looking for? Many people would answer by making a request for physical healing. And I have no doubt that this is possible because it has happened. But then I ask, what is the healing that this particular person needs? Perhaps it is spiritual. Perhaps it is in reconciliation with loved ones. Perhaps in death, this person is being healed in mind, body, and spirit. We never know the mysteries of the divine. What we can count on for sure is that prayer does three things. It connects us. Prayer connects us with others and ourselves. It brings us into communion. Prayer unites us with the divine source of all life. We come to experience our oneness with all of creation through the power of prayer. It brings transformation. When we pray, we are transformed. Sitting in the silence gives space for our desires of our heart to bubble forth. In prayer, we work through our struggles and get to the heart of what needs to transpire in order for our transformation to come about. Thus, prayer connects us, it brings us into communion with God, and it transforms us. We are different because of the way we pray. How are you using prayer to make a difference in your life and in the lives of others? How are you holding the high watch?
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.